Welcome to the Wiggly Sausage Farm. In this video, we'll be discussing how to choose who to keep and who to cull. In the world of livestock breeding, every breeder finds a point where they ask themselves, or others, who do I keep, who do I cull? Oftentimes this leads to a breeder culling, and as mentioned in a previous video, it leads to selling off of B-team animals with issues, defects, or undesirable traits. Is this wrong? Not necessarily. Let's talk about it. Livestock breeders must decide their purpose for the animals that they are breeding. In the realm of dairy animals, low milk production or undesirable mammary systems should indeed be culled from a barn. In the realm of meat production, low grow rates and low butcher weights should be culled as well. Show animals that do not perform well in the show ring and pets that aren't very pet-like, whatever purpose or goal you want your livestock to have and reach, if they don't, they should be culled. So maybe you are starting out and you say, I don't know what I'm breeding for. 1. If this is you, I recommend sitting down and analyzing why you purchased or plan to purchase the livestock animals you want. What do you want to accomplish with that breed or animal? For example, as mentioned in another video, I started raising dairy goats because they are smaller than cows and buying milk or other dairy products that were expensive and oftentimes bad by the time I got home from the grocery store. And it was no longer a feasible option for me to keep purchasing these products for them just to be bad. It was literally pouring milk and money down the drain. My family decided on raising dairy goats for heavy milk production, with a focus on ease of hand milking. Therefore, we specifically breed for good kidding and mothering since we breed annually, good body conformation, health, and condition, since, again, we work with them daily, and for good annual kidding, we require does to be in good health. Good quality milk and heavy milk production to provide the milk and dairy products for our family, as well as good mammary systems that complement hand milking and the longevity of milk production. Although we raise registered dairy goats, we do not specifically breed for show quality animals, as showing goats is not the main purpose or goal of raising our dairy goats. In addition, we cull mostly through butchering to provide quality homegrown meat for our family. Although we do this, we do not breed specifically for meat characteristics, as those are generally different from dairy breeding goals. We are also not trying to breed for a dual purpose reason. With perhaps the exception of our mini Nubians, we do not breed for meat and milk dual purposeness. The same goes for other livestock. For example, we also raise Mangalitsa hogs on the farm. We breed these hogs for good meat quality, good lard quality, good mothering, and good growth rates. Any hogs that we think may be keepers that don't meet these requirements are still culled. Number 2, now that you have your goal that we want to accomplish with our chosen livestock, we need to have a general breeding plan or program. For example, for my goat herd, I have priorities in my breeding program. Priority 1 is mammary system correctness, priority 2 is milk production, and priority 3 is body condition, correctness, and overall health. Under these priorities, I have traits I will absolutely not keep, and traits I am aiming for. Experience dictates a lot of my breeding program. Number 3. Now that you have your goal and breeding program requirements, you'll need to go through and experience the process. Like I said, experience dictates a lot of what your breeding program looks like. I grow my doelings until breeding age and take a look at them. If they have the foundation of what I believe will become what I want, and they meet or exceed my breeding program priorities, thus reaching my goal, then they get bred for stage 2, which is kidding and freshening. Any doelings that do not meet my breeding program goals by the end of stage 1 are culled. Freshened does are allowed to complete at least 5 months of lactation, and if they meet the minimum requirement for milk production, and additionally have successfully dam raised their kids until weaning, they are retained. If the minimum requirements are not met, then they are culled upon weaning their kids. If they do not raise their kids, they are culled as well as their kids. I believe if a doe does not dam raise their kids after so many generations, it is likely that the following generations will be bad kidders and bad mothers. Once these does pass stage 2, their likelihood of being culled from the herd declines unless their health declines. At this point, if numbers are too high in the herd, then I cull the least friendliest or the lowest producer, and if I believe them to be suitable for another farm, I list them for sale. Number 4. Now that you have experienced the process, you can decide if you want to repeat, try something new, or not. At this point, if I have successfully freshened does that meet my breeding program requirements and priorities and continue to do what I bred them to do, I consider them proven. I consider them either part of my herd or possessing the ability to be moved on and assist someone else achieve their breeding program goals. Notice I don't say that they are perfect. No goat or livestock is perfect, nor will they ever be. There will be room for improvement always. I hope to do DHI and official milk testing with my herd, but while I get my herd where I believe they need to be, I continue to do unofficial milk weigh-ins and keep track of their days in milk. I do a rough calculation using AGS's Milk Star 1-day test formula. If my does couldn't make a Milk Star on a 1-day test in volume and days in milk, then I don't consider them to be worthy of moving on to another farm. If something works for you and you can repeat it, I would say feel free to cull to reduce numbers, unless you only want to focus on that line that works. If something works and you can't repeat it, I would consider not culling this animal from your breeding program. If something doesn't work, do not repeat it unless you believe something else is at play. For example, in goats, Cache Valley virus or bad management practices. Otherwise, try something new. Even if something does work, you can find a trait you would like to work on and breed that trait in. Number 5. After a few runs of this process, you will have the knowledge, experience, and skills to decide what to change in your breeding program. Ultimately, I do not believe that it is wrong to keep the best of your breeding program. My only gripe is those who breed and cull by selling without proving or providing honest information on their livestock that they are selling and why they are selling them. I often applaud breeders in my area that put in their posts that a goat is not show quality, or it is not from heavy milking lines, or that it is only pet quality. It gives first-time buyers the information they need to make an informed decision. It also prevents breeders purchasing animals to bring into their herd and then breeding those animals to then sell to other herds, not knowing the full story because they were not given the full story when they brought those animals in. I do recommend partnering with a breeder in your area to gain knowledge from. A second opinion is always welcomed. But ultimately, as you are the breeder and the raiser, you should have the final say and feel confident in your breeding program, priorities, and who stays on your farm or leaves. In addition, if you can't find a breeder to learn from or a mentor, do a lot of research and a lot of comparison. Look at DHI records for your dairy animals and see if your animals can compare to either poor, average, or above average producers. If your livestock breed has a registry, compare your animal with the breed standard. Do they even meet the breed standard? A registry may be another avenue to find a new mentor. Experience will assist you in the case you decide to stray away from purebred breeding and venture into crossbreeding. Crossbreeding is even more unpredictable. I find that to achieve crossbred animals that perform well according to my goals, I have had to really take good notes of what works and what hasn't. I'll explain crossbreeding livestock in another video. I hope this process helps new goat or livestock breeders create and analyze their goals, keepers, and culls. Ultimately, there is not a one answer fits all, but at least this should give you a starting place to create your process while you gain experience and knowledge along the way of breeding your herd. As always, good luck on the farm.